Every year, the Phoenixville Area High School Theater Guild produces an entirely student-led murder mystery dinner show. It's a great chance to experience the stresses and strains of the creative process. The leaders for this year's show were directors Juli Nita Vlad and Rachel Hess, with producer Xander Coleman, and this is their story. In theater, the fourth wall brings the audience into the action. The audience becomes a character to be used as the director sees fit.
Audience incorporation was the biggest struggle, especially when we were in a setting when rehearsing that had no audience and they were facing a wall 90% of the time, so they couldn't imagine what it would be like. So I think when we finally got in the cafeteria and there were actual tables and chairs and people that were laughing and looking at them, they connected with the audience really well, and that's what really made the show.
14. That's genetics. Thanks, Mom and Dad. You're here tonight.
The challenge is how are we going to take a play that's meant to be shown mainly up front to one audience on one side and make it into two audiences on either side of the stage. So the difficulty was making a lot of the actors who already knew what they were doing change how they normally perform on stage and perform in a way that is very uncomfortable to them.
The actors for the murder mystery are extremely dedicated to their roles and even stay in character during intermissions. Casting them can be a challenge.
The casting process was kind of difficult because none of us had ever done it before, and we've never been given the insight to it because none of us have ever been in like a production staff, as we've always been on stage. But it was easy to pick up on. You know, you just picked what scenes you wanted to do, you ran them a couple times, and we made lists of different characters and who we liked for them. And by the second day of auditions, that's when we actually really chose people, because we wanted to give everyone a fair chance regardless of if they wanted to actually be in the role or not.
With third production murder mystery, you need a smaller cast because we don't have the space, because we're not in the auditorium performing. We're actually in the cafeteria on a smaller platform stage, and so you need a lot less people to crowd up space on stage, and then on top of that, you need the people who have experience and then people who don't necessarily have as much experience either, because what the point of the show is to give people the experience that they need, and the people who have the potential and haven't been given that chance yet to actually unlock that.
The producer of a show handles much of the logistics that go into making a show possible. What is the motivation behind making the show student-produced?
There's been a tradition of having the third production be a student-produced performance. It's really an opportunity for students that are really involved with theater and have been involved with theater their whole entire high school career to get a chance to actually experience what it's like to create a performance and create a production behind the scenes. There's a lot of different aspects that go in producing. Like the directors get to just look at the actors on the stage and tell them what to do, whereas the producers figuring out how is that going to happen. So there's definitely a lot more complication.
Whoa! You are in sheep's clothing! Give it back! Now!
The directors are responsible for making sure the performance's story is conveyed in a coherent manner.
Well, the comedy took over the entire show. The murder was secondary. I think it was more about, I don't even think it was about what they were saying. I think it was about the physical aspects of what they did on stage. So it was more about what they portrayed within their characters, and then it made the whole murder and the comedy really pair up and mesh well. And I think it was also just good playwriting.
The comedy was definitely very heavy. It was already built into the script, so it was very easy for us to really incorporate that even more so and just really bring it home on that aspect. And the murder was very it was there, but I mean, you make jokes of it as it goes, and that's just how the show was and how it was portrayed, and it went really well.
No, get off! That's all, folks.